Wyoming was the home of the Shoshone, the Crow, Lakota, and the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and the Utes. In the 1840s, when wagons after wagons of the westbound immigrants followed the North Platte to this area, they crossed over the river, and then they continued west along the Sweetwater River to South Pass.
Just an itty-bitty about a couple on the road, driving in RV, pulling a toad. No place special to roam, not looking for a home. Won't you come along with us? We are RPlaceTravels.
Being it's getting late in the year, we working our way south. We went from the Black Hills toward Utah. We cut through Wyoming. And right in the middle of the state of Wyoming is a town called Casper.
Not the ghost.
So there's two pretty interesting museums in the town of Casper. While we were traveling through, we stopped in the town and we stopped in these two museums.
And we had the RV and the tow all hooked up. They got very good parking for the RVs.
Yeah, you got a large RV and tow and everything. There's plenty of parking. It's all set up for RVs in both parking lots. One's on one side of town and one's on the other side of the town.
And I mean, not too far away from each other.
But the first museum is called Historic Trails Museum. And there's 4 wagon trails that went through this town. Well, they went up the Platte River, the North Platte River, back in the mid-1800s.
The California Trail, the Mormon Trail, the Oregon Trail, and the Pony Express.
And so this museum goes through all the artifacts and all about the trails.
The people that kind of went through and why they were going through and what they brought with them, what they left there when they went by. Apparently, through the whole trails, people left stuff all the time.
So it was sectioned off into sections of individual trails. Very interesting. And also the Indians and how they traded with the Indians and fought the Indians. And
the one on with the Mormon Trail went through the one section of people that actually got lost. In Utah, they heard that they had gotten lost, so they went back to find them. And almost everyone died. I think there was like 1,000 people when they first started, and when they found them in the snow, they only saved like 10 people. I mean, it wasn't very many at all. So it kind of goes through all the hardships that everyone went through during that time period. When we first got there, we parked the RV. You have to kind of walk all the way around almost the whole building to get into it. It's kind of a neat setup how they have it, because you're up on top of a mountain looking down into the town.
When we walked in, there's a ranger that
welcomes us.
We have a presentation that we play in the middle of everything. That's our theater down there. So we'll make an announcement when that starts at 12
Okay.
for you. You're welcome to go anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. There's some great stuff in there. And just have a wonderful time, okay?
And told us about where to go in the museum, what's it all about, and what to see. But then he just
kept on talking to us.
I mean, he just was so friendly that we kept asking him questions not about the museum, but about the whole town of Casper. What it's like right now.
Is there anything else to see in town?
Definitely go down Fort Casper. That's another great historical site.
What it's like to live there, and because he's lived there most of his life, and he just told us all kinds of information. It was a very interesting conversation we had with this man.
Wind's a normal thing here. We have high wind warnings, and they don't. They close down the interstates because of the wind.
Wow.
Oh, is that what the bars
Yep.
are for?
And that's for the winter too. So when they close the roads, because it's really windy in the wintertime. Summer and fall is pretty calm. It does get windy, as you know, but in the wintertime it'll blow every day 30, 40 miles an hour. That's a low breeze for us. There's days we've had 109 mile per hour gusts. You don't hear about it 'cause it's Wyoming, So they'll have the interstates closed sometimes for days, and there'll be semis that will be blown over all the time. We don't get a lot of rain. It's a pretty dry climate. To be honest with you, I'm from eastern Nebraska. I've been here 22 years now. They were way worse winters in here. We have a lot of snow, so you don't have that cold, Like in eastern Nebraska, it's humid, so it's just so cold. The cold is different.
We saw a lot of oil wells and coal.
Yep.
Is that pretty much most
Yeah,
of the
oil,
industry
coal,
around
natural
here?
gas.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys are up in Wright, then you were right in the Powder River coal country up there.
Okay.
Did you get a tour of the mines or anything? There's a Thunder Basin coal mine, and they'll do tours. I think you have to call them in advance. So a lot of oil, a lot of natural gas. We don't have a state income tax here. I like the open spaces.
So very interesting just talking to people that live there and seeing what it's like to live in that town when that's your hometown.
Yeah, that makes it more interesting.
It's kind of an interactive museum. I mean, they had like a stagecoach where you sit in the stagecoach.
The stagecoach moves and has a picture window on the one hand, and it plays a movie also. So you're moving with the movie.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you the effect that you're actually riding in the stagecoach.
And then in the middle of the museum, they actually had a movie set up.
If you'd been here 150 years ago, on this very hill, looking down on the wide, muddy North Platte River with Deer Creek to the east and the Red Buttes to the west, you could have watched the pioneers pass with their wagons and animals.
And as the movie ran, it highlighted different areas of the stage.
I, Patty Session, delivered Silvira, wife of Samuel Turnbow, of a daughter named Margaret Ann, born June 25, 9 o'clock p.m.
I always thought of Independence Rock. I figured it was a rock in Independence, Missouri. Outside of Casper, it's about 60 miles south of Casper, Wyoming. As these immigrants are on this trail, they leave Missouri in early spring, and they hope to reach this rock by July 4th. And then if they reach it by July 4th, then they know that they'll get to their destination over the mountains before the snow falls. Mm-hmm. So that's why they call it Independence Rock, because July 4th is Independence Day.
For many immigrants, the arrival at Independence Rock was reason for celebration. They knew that by arriving there prior to Independence Day, they would most likely miss the early snows of winter on the mountain passes to the west.
And when they got there, they carved their names in the rock. So if you go there, which we didn't go because it was a little bit out of the way for us to go.
Yeah, we saw the actual rock, but we didn't go to it to actually see the writing. They do have pictures of it at the museum.
But it's filled with carvings and signatures of
People that have gone through
from
there.
200 years ago that
Yeah.
have traveled through there.
That's amazing.
Kind of interesting the way they put it all together.
Yeah, they really thought it out well.
So if you're passing through Casper, Wyoming, it's definitely worth a stop.
Yeah. Our next stop is at Fort Casper. We came and it was later on in the day. Of course, we're trying to do too many things in a day. So as long as you're there early, you can probably get both done. But of course, we're just putt-skiing around and taking our time. They told us we had only like an hour and a half to get through the whole place, which is plenty of time.
Yeah, it was doable.
It was very doable. They had the fort. The fort was there to protect all the people that were coming through from the Indians and
Yeah, they had a lot of Indian attacks at the
Yeah.
time, obviously,
in that area.
attacking the wagon trains. So they built this fort for soldiers to come and protect
The people.
the immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
These are all replicas. The whole thing is just a replica.
Mm-hmm.
And it's named after Sergeant Casper Collins was the sergeant's name, but he was actually killed in a battle right before the fort was built.
Yeah.
And then they named it after him. He was like a 20-year-old sergeant.
You go to each of the different buildings and they have what they are, the barracks, the commissary. It's got everything that a fort would have. So we went through all of that. That was fun going through and reading everything about it. And then once we went through all of that, then they actually have a little museum of everything on the inside too. Paintings, things from the Indians, different things like that. A little gift shop that you can buy stuff from. And they have like a place where they have art projects there. You could do other things with the museum. They like helping the community and stuff. So.
And out back they had the garage. They had a bunch of old buggies, and then they had little plaques saying which kind of buggy it was and
What they were used for.
what they were used for, and little things about each buggy.
Yeah, it's just something to go see. It's our history. If you're out that direction, you should stop at and take a look at it. We had a great time. Casper, Wyoming was a good stop. Very, very busy day.
But interesting.
Yeah. Great museums, great stop.
From here, we'll be heading on into Utah. Lots of things to see in Utah.
Lots of things to see in Utah. Remember to subscribe, and below, if you want to get our newsletter, just click down below. We're going to go ahead and put up in the top a video that we think that you'll like to watch. Right up there.
Up at the top.
Up at the top. So, come and join us.
See you on the next one.
Bye.